flopping pretty well up here. This guy is very, very loose. That's why I definitely start having flatting range there on the button with like quite some stuff. Like if I can step any sizing can be fine. I simplify that a little and just use a half pot sizing and see what that brings me to. It's like if it was a little lower, I would go with a small sizing because he has so much like trash snap folds, but there he has still some offsuit hands that could connect, like just like Jack 10 type of hands, having some backdoors. So I go a little bigger, just like a general guideline, thinking about what I'm attacking. In villain's range, when I choose a sizing, I want to hit like some bunch of hands, not just like putting him on one hand. I can do that on the river maybe. Calling that 8-9 suited versus a big blind 3-bet, it's not like that fist pump happy call. It's like definitely a hand I can fold sometimes. Because just like when it hits strong, villain hits strong as well. So something like 4-5, 5-6 is way cooler because, well, especially on boards like that, I'm connecting like pretty well. And make hands when he doesn't make hands. And that 8-9, just flopping a pair around that 9 is not necessarily great. And yeah, making straights or 2 pairs when then there's a 10 and a jack and that kind of stuff on the board doesn't help my case either. So just like easy to overvalue that value the hand has. And Jack 8 suited, like I'm still fucked up by that new Aurora theme here. So I apparently missed a small blind flat here and I just thought I go for a big blind versus button 3-bet. So this is just the worst change that Stars has made since they killed Supernova Elite, in my opinion. Because that graphics is just like really killing it for me. I think I go for another half pot bet against someone. 60 hands, 72-25. That's the value. I like to dictate the pot, the size of the pot myself. I don't know how often he has a 10 or can have something like pocket 9s or ace 8. I guess the rivers, like I don't see like the clear hands that could be calling. I mean the 6. I think I go for the nitty check back, but I can see the jam here. So here, welcome Brick T on the tables. And we see pocket 3s, that's okay. So starting off with a check raise on that board, which he can do with a variety of hands. Actually, that is one of those spots where we could re-raise sometimes because, well, what does he have right now? Definitely not 9-6 off, definitely not 6-3 off, definitely not 9-3 off, so it's not too many combos. But we have positions, so calling is always, not always, but often the superior option. Just see what comes next and then decide when to invest money and when not. So his 5-7 that he should have for high frequency, 7-8, 10-8, whatever, is just pretty fucked. If he has a set, he has a set. We don't care. He will get our stack. And for now, we just hope to bink, like not to bink something, to just dodge those freaking backdoor flushes and straights. The king is just a very bad card. In the sense of, I don't think he keeps bluffing. Like if he has a random 7-8, 5-7 open-ender, he can bet like that on the turn. And now, well, he's always betting those gut shots and stuff that have a flush draw added. So I mean, I will call my top trips here. He can have like some 3-4 type of hand as well, but definitely not happy. And we see that river backdoor nut flush, which is just like, yeah, pretty much what I expected. But I mean, I'm not calling like way more than this kind of trips here when it comes to bluff catchers. So it's like really, it's very bad start. 10s with a diamond calling here against the squeezer. 1s, just expecting him to c-bet that board pretty much 100%. And yeah, mainly just hoping for his ace-queen give-ups at some point. I have 2 outs to make the nuts and like not winning against any of his value hands. So it's, yeah, just like a bad bluff catcher with the added few percent of like a backdoor flush draw. And yeah, yeah, just folding the turn. Different between stars and GG games, and do you play high stakes on GG, 1K, and L+? I mean, difference is always tough to speak about. It's different play, it's different... wow, okay. It's like, why do I only get like horrible spots here? I mean, a random guy, 3-betting, 36, 27, like never folding to 3-bets so far. So I imagine it's kind of a fish, and now just like going, like turning an open ender, and now rivering that very bad bluff catcher. But okay, maybe get something going with those aces. Well, we did call a 3-bet here, button versus big blind, flopping top here. So I'll give you the full screen here. And yeah, betting most of my range here. Facing a bigger bet, yeah, totally standard on that board that will change into in my favor with that 3-5 and flush run out potentially. I mean, definitely calling my top here, but obviously not having the nuts or anything. So here I'm going to keep betting. And now let's keep the full screen here. And having another call. It's like all kinds of equity shit. Now on the river we will have a pure bluff catcher. It's just half pot. He gets there with like all kinds of ace king he should probably never bluff. It just still has showdown value. And then he has like king 10, 10, 9. I mean, we cannot fold that one expecting to lose to something like that. Yeah, they have one better syndrome, I call that. And as well here, I did go for a bigger bet on the turn. We have all options there. Checking is definitely fine on the turn. Choosing different bet sizes is fine as well. On that river jack, I guess I cannot jam for stacks anymore, but definitely going for a block bet. Should have all kinds of 10s, 9s. Once he decides to jam, we have another one of those big problems where he either has it or not. And seems like we're just running into problems today. Yeah, he has like all queen X, I guess. This is just one of those folds that hurts, but okay. So up here, check calling, big blind versus under the gun, turning a draw. Now same thing, right? Okay, he sizes down, right? But he's clearly, I mean, he is wrapping 9x or ace x. So if I just raise bigger here, it doesn't make any sense. So actually I'm just min raising here because, well, how could I ever bluff if he has aces, an ace often enough? Just not working. Well, this is a very, very, very interesting hand as well. So let's talk about that. Let's close whether we can even jam, or he just has pocket 7s, 7, 5, 5, 3, pocket 3s. Yeah, if he has 7s, he has freaking 7s. So very, very interesting hand. Actually, again, I don't know whether it was Aurora or just because I had too much action. I thought I was heads up against Xelic instead of three-way. I flop this, oh, sorry, here. So we were actually three-way. Didn't know that until the river. And yeah, board that I clearly want to start checking with my full range against the button flat there. And now I turn like the stone cold nuts pretty much. And yeah, how to play that one. It's like play like a king, play it kind of fancy with big bets. What is my range? What am I bluffing, etc.? I don't know. I block everything to death, so I decided to check that one again. If I knew it was three-way at that point, I'd probably start betting, but yeah. And now on that river 7, I mean, I guess I clearly should find a bet here. and we get that call, and we get kind of a large check raise by Tunus, I don't know. And now the question is actually, what is his flatting range in the small blind? How is he playing pocket threes? How is he playing 4-5, 5-6 suited? How is he playing this and that and this and that? Because pocket sevens beat me. Right? And now the question is, if I go over the top, which is, I can probably choose another sizing, but all in. Like in hindsight, I had, again, time bank trouble. I like that a little more. But right, is he probably just calling with pocket sevens? Right? Is he calling with 7-5 suited pre? Questionable. I don't know. Probably not. Is he ever calling 5-6 suited versus a jam there? I don't know. Like what I'm doing by jam here is pretty much wrapping pocket kings, which is, yeah, it's kind of weird. So I'm not really happy with that hand. I think like, but calling feels too weak. So I'll probably just betting turn myself and then see where it leads me to. It's kind of, you see, like these are the questions that I'm having. Like I have no clue. Okay, let's keep going. I can't solve that puzzle here. I just don't like my jam in the end. Again, we can do the math. I'm risking, like, what is it effectively? Like 670, we are deep even, to win 200. So why should he ever call like some random catcher here? Like, I mean, I clearly have kings. I clearly can have pocket sevens. Which bluff am I having? A random king X maybe would be pretty cool. So let's talk about that. I went for a small bet here. Just having such a high equity hand. Now he decides to use like a 75% sizing on the turn, having another clear call. And now the river is interesting. So we beat straights now. We don't beat a queen, but he should check probably most of his range because we are having way more queens than him and we are having kings and aces. And well, he can have like 10-8, queen-8 of spades, but that's about it. But well, that 10, just checking back, happy to see jack-9 now, or the queen-10. Interesting spot here. I did 3-bet and we get a cold call by someone, and now Leg Wizard, I'll call him that, is donking. So he's clearly ready to stack off against Bear, which is just like a random overcaller always makes this spot a little more face up. I mean, I'm definitely calling. My nut flush draw, just thought about how do I play like certain hands. And now my hand will play itself. It's just, yeah, I won't start bluffing into a ready to stack off against I have something range, right? So he's clearly beating like pocket 9s, 10s of Bear. I'm just going for my outs. He keeps even betting on the king, so yeah. Maybe he has another monster draw, or he beats that, and monster draws will give up here. And yeah, it's like... And we should sometimes win with our ace-queen high here. That's the good part of it. Pocket sevens. Okay, that does not make any sense in my mind to know. That is... I mean, he can clearly stack that off against Bear, but just the turn bet against me is just... I don't know. Alright, so here... This guy, okay. I mean, we have another jam with ace-king suited. Running into aces. What the fuck is that session? Here we have a 3-bet. We lose to aces, obviously. Like, I'm still waiting for the setup for me. And now I'm not on tilt. I just randomized that 4-bet up here. Oh, maybe it's set up for us. Whew. 1. Oh, maybe another one for us. But maybe another one against us as well. Let's see. And here, calling a small c-bet, turning a straight, but not the nut straights. 16 combinations, ace-queen in mind. So we don't want the call from the small blind. Yep, that's not good. Ooh, jacks are a clear fold there, but okay. Wow. And here we keep calling an overbet, and this is not really great. Donkey doesn't make any sense either. Yeah, he was bluffing with ace-8, so that was really like a horrible river there for us. So I ended up bluffing here with my king-7 suited with a 4-bet against Bena Badby. Again, another low frequency. I rolled 7, that was good enough. And now, I mean, he has all ace-queens. He should check raise some. He has some flushes. He has some pocket jacks, some pocket 10s, etc. Jacks, I can go with that all the way. Not having diamonds is good. Maybe he floats that sometimes, probably not. I don't have any relevant blockers actually, so this is one that I'm going to check back. Queen is a very good card because it takes some of his ace-queen off out of the game, right? He does not have ace of clubs, queen of diamonds anymore. And yeah, flushes should bet themselves, probably, most of them. I mean, if he has the queen of spades. Yeah, I'm bluffing sometimes, and we have a 0. That's like the punt it in there, please. Yeah. Getting one through. Feels good. Here, another call versus 3-bet, now flopping top pair. That's a board I am playing without the raising range, so definitely ace-queen not raising either. Mainly because there's no bad card, right? He doesn't have 7-8 suited full frequency, like nothing, like it's only good stuff happening for me, so I don't need to protect or anything. And now I'm just in call down mode. You could think about raising some ace queens at some point, but here's again not too much equity in his favor going on, I would say. Like, he does not have king 10, king jack offsuit too often, and it's like, obviously my hand hates to see that 10 of hearts, but my range is like super happy, right? If he jams now, look at my range. I mean, it's like nothing can go wrong pretty much. And we face another triple jam in like a board. I mean, we have all 5s, we have all 6s, we have all pocket 9s, we have all 7-8s, we have all flushes in the world, right? So we have pretty much every ace high flush because all the ace of hearts something connect with that 6-5 to some straighty draws. The small c-bet, we continue with all kinds of king jack, king 10 of hearts. So yeah, I definitely don't need to call my ace queen here all the time. Obviously, he might be bluffing with something like ace of hearts king or ace of hearts jack or something like that. But yeah, again, it's just like I'm sitting there and seeing all his cards when I have all my strong hands. This time I don't have a strong hand at all, relatively. So yeah, again, one of those, we get the worst run out possible and just fold our hand because we are pretty far down in our range, actually. And again, talking about that overfolding we talked about a bit today, feel free to double check that in Pio, like ace queen is pretty clearly a 0 EV catcher there if he finds the bluffs, right? And now then double check what his correct bluffs should be. It's just way, way, way tougher than just to jam when you have it. This is a very good board, and he should pretty much check his range here. And he snaps c-bets. So again, I have position, I have 2 options. I can tell him, hey, your c-bet is bullshit here and raise. Or take my, and I actually like doing that now. Enough is enough. I mean, I can call and play my position. Like, this is a hand, why should I give up my position? The only reason is that I don't know how strong is my 4 actually, like my 3 here actually. And this is just getting in the equity because I won't get too much payoff. That was bullshit. I should have called. Like, there's no reason for me to jam, really. Now I was folding out 0% equity. Where the whole manager is opening to maybe review 2 or 3 interesting hands. But yeah, like definitely down like 8 or 9 stacks or something. So let's have a look here. That was like the biggest whale in the pool. Does not have that win rate probably, but that happens. If you look at the biggest pot, I had that one setup for me, and then like every time we played for stacks, it was gun. And remember, most of the stuff I found a fold where it was like, yeah, but I'm happy with actually all those folds. Yeah, so let me see. Maybe I select 1 or 2. I'll just select those that I will run myself in a second. I will run this one for sure. I will run this one and this one and this one. So 4 hands to review. And let's just review them from both sides. So here, we are calling pre-flop. So far, so good. He c-bets small. I will mainly answer, there's not too many hands that are really interested in check calling, right? It's like, not like a mid pair on ace king 4 that is like either I'm ahead or behind. It's like when in position has full bullshit, he still has 6 outs against all my high cards. So check raising a lot is very, very important on those boards. And mainly we want to check raise those hands that we find like we have a chance to value bet for stacks at the river. So 8x has a very, very good chance. And the next stuff is, well, maybe even something like pocket deuces has 2 outs to hit something crazy. And a flush draw has good outs to hit something very strong. Backdoor flush draw is pretty good. So something, maybe this is even like a very, very, very low frequency. And in reality, like obviously something like Jack 9, 9, 10 of spades is way better to pick up more equity hands on the turn. But still, I went for it, and it's like I randomized that spot pretty sure. So it's not like I do that all the time. And he has a calling hand. What does he do with like his random queen 10 off? What does he do with all his ace highs, whatever? So okay. Now I have to evaluate my range. I have something like 9, 10. I have still flush draws. I have still spades. I still have 8x. And I have more 8x than he has. So I'm definitely overbetting here with all my 8x and still the best hands that have potential to make something good. Right? So I cannot take all my flush draws, but some. He calls, totally fine, right? He unblocks all my flush draws. He blocks the 2 of my clear value hands, which is the king of clubs, 8 of clubs, and the king of diamonds, 8 of diamonds. So pretty clear call for him. And the river is an ace. We're now okay. Now I have to think of which hands did I bet on the turn. What about my value hands? And I would say on that ace, it's kind of a blank. Obviously, villain can have aces, but that's about it. And yeah, so my value hands are still value jams, clear. And like pretty much any 8 can just value jam. He has 10s, jacks, queens, kings, all that potentially. And you know, the question is, what are my best hands? Like flush draws, hearts are really bad, I would say, because villain, this is definitely in villain's bet and then calling range that is now folding. And I don't want to block what he could be folding now. Spades is not that great. But yeah, I mean, I'm not betting all of them. I'm not check raising all of them. And some of them just hit an ace and are like, I mean, not a value hand for stacks, but like a decent hand. So yeah, mine is kind of random. So I randomized it. And now my question pretty much to the solver is that totally bananas? Or is that totally fine, low frequency? Or does it show me 0 frequency, but it's actually 0 EV or something like that? So that will be the one question. I will run that one and I will find out, right? And then I understand, okay, maybe I should try to find other hands because they are better. Maybe low is better, right? King of spades still blocks king, queen of spades, king, jack of spades, king, 10 of spades. All that villain is probably bet calling on the flop, calling on the turn, and now folding. So folding that sucks, right? So maybe something like 9, 10 of spades is better because villain has less cards that contain the 10 or 9 of spades. Whatever, right? Maybe it's shit, maybe it's a little losing, maybe it's a little winning, I don't know. Right? Depends on his likeliness to bluff catch. And he tanked with like a good catcher. Let's see how clear his call is or not. Like, interesting. Second one. I open raise queen 10 suited, villain 3 bets, king queen off. This is something you do low frequency from the big blind, because what happens? I fold king jack mainly, I fold king 10 off, I fold queen 10 off, so it's pretty much bad stuff happening for you. Obviously you're building a pot with a hand that is drawing to a good top pair. This guy is totally, on my sample, 3-betting 10% big blind versus button, which is like not pio, but like it's like not one of those super tight guys. So I didn't expect that king queen too often. Okay. Queen 5-3, good board for him. I don't have 3s and 5s full frequency probably. Queen X is kind of nuts. He has kings, aces. I don't have that. He starts betting half pot. Protect, because more cards will help me mainly. A flush will kill his advantage. A 6 is bad, a 7 is bad, a 4 is really bad, a deuce is bad, whatever. So I'm definitely calling. Turn is a jack. Now think about his range. What could he have? Like king 10 suited, ace king offsuit, maybe ace 10 off, sometimes ace 10 suited for sure. Something like king 9 suited is usually 100% frequency 3-bet. And those are just like all very, very, very natural bluffs. I still have a top here, I'm calling. River, nothing of that got there, right? Maybe he was bluffing 6-7 before, that has a pair now, right? Ace king, well, has showdown value because, well, it's winning against ace high flush draws. But he still can have 10-8, 10-9, king 10, king 9. And this is one of those spots where, when I was talking about overfolding before, this is one of the spots where I don't want to really overfold. Like, it's pretty easy for him to get there and have too many bluffs. It's like he definitely needs to give up some of his, he needs to give up hearts, right? If he bluffs his king 9 of hearts, he's definitely over bluffing here. What about ace 4 of spades, ace 4 of clubs, whatever, right? So, I mean, I have a top pair, right? But I don't see that as a top pair here. It's just a bluff catcher that has a good blocker with a queen, well, and a bad blocker with a 10, right? I'm blocking ace queen, I'm blocking king queen. The 10 is bad because it clearly blocks bluffs, but I could come to the same decision with maybe ace 5, right? And sometimes call, who knows? So I call here and he has the one better. I mean, if I'm not calling those hands, his value bet wouldn't be, it would be bad, but yeah, just a standard cooler, he has the one better. Actually, I don't need to look that up. That's just a pretty clear 100% call on the river. Okay, this one, very early in the stream. I c-bet that. We can have multiple c-bet strategies on that board. We can use a bigger sizing. We can use that small sizing, which forces him to check raise and defend a lot, which lots of people are not capable of. He seems to be capable of that, and he check raised something which we talked about. He has either something good, which is tough on that board, or he has something that can get something good. This has a backdoor straight, this has a top pair draw, and this has a backdoor nut flush draw. And I could re-raise some stuff to put, if he has too many of those hands, to give him trouble. But actually I have position. Why kill my position? So I'm just calling and reacting to cards that are coming. We have, well, 80% against his hand. How much bad stuff can happen? We turn pretty much the nuts. I mean, not really, right? His nuts were like 9-6 suited that he did check raise. 6s and 9s, so we do not beat that. Maybe he's check raising some 3-4 suited, 3-5 suited. We beat that and have a cooler for us. That would be great. But now he decides to overbet, and we talked about that spot where when the board pairs, what happens? His 9-6 is not a value bet anymore for that amount. All his draws are clearly weaker because a 7-8 is not drawing to the nuts anymore. 4-5 is not drawing to the nuts. Like, there are boats possible. So actually, what should he be doing, right? It's like he should give up most of his random gut shots, maybe barrel some of his open-enders, and that's it. So once he starts barreling, our ace-3 is obviously great, but not like nuts. It's not like sitting there with pocket nines. I think there's no reason to jam here. Right? Sometimes you want to jam when the board can change a lot and you have the nuts, because let's say there could be a 5 of spades on the river and then you won't get it in anymore. But here, I mean, what are we really ahead of that is happily stacking off? We need a very, very advanced 3-4 suited check raise, something like that. I'm not like, there's no cooler on our side right now, pretty much. We're actually we are bluff catching. And now when we look at the river, which is a spade, I told you guys on the turn already, I'm just praying that there's no spade. Because what I expect him to have on the turn is pocket sixes, pocket nines with some frequency, 7, 8, 4, 5, especially those with a backdoor flush draw, and random backdoor flush draws. So given that range, once he jams that river, he has a range of boats and flushes and bluffs. But it's really tough. Like, you get there with some 4, 5, 7, 8, but to bluff without a blocker into a range that has sixes, nines, super nuts, pocket kings, and all kinds of flushes. So actually, I like, and this is now what I will ask Pio against the think. I think actually the call is not good, because in reality, it's just so tough to be over bluffing here. And again, I have nuts in my range, so I would get to know once people are over bluffing here, right? If he has 7, 8 of hearts, I will call with my flushes. They have better blockers against his value range. I call with my sixes, with my nines, with my kings, and then I make a note, crazy guy bluffs without blockers, 7, 8. But here I have not such a note, right? And yeah, so it's kind of calling but expecting to see the flush, where again he's over betting, so he's risking 366 to win 269. I'm allowed to fold more than 60%. Questionable. So I will double check, and just maybe this is absolute hand strength wise, looks great, but in reality, it's just a randomly bad bluff catcher. Okay, so those aces, last hand number 4, thinking about how do I play that spot. Okay, that board is a brick besides the queen, right? So I have a clear advantage after 3-betting from the big blind because he did not 4-bet. I have all nuts, he doesn't have those, and we both have some queens. So now the question is, how strong are my aces and kings? Can I go for a stack still? How many queens does he have? I'm not really sure, right? So I can start off by just betting small. Like, any hand he has is in some trouble. He has random pockets, he has random jack 10 of hearts, he has random 7, 8 of diamonds, he has random bullshit, such a cheap price, and can just start building a pot, having a clear range advantage. And now on the turn, there's the decision. Am I sizing down to not play for stacks with most of my hands? By that saying that, I mean, like, okay, he needs to raise to get stacks in. Or am I like still going for value, not thinking about that queen X too much, right? Just saying, okay, aces is good enough. I get called by queen X, but I don't care. He needs to call enough that aces are a good value bet. We're like, okay, first thing that I want to be betting is those aces with the ace of spades, because, well, I'm playing my nut flush draws the same way regarding blockers. That was my in-game thought. And this will be something, especially the turn strategy will be something I will be looking at now when I run the sim. And then on the river, it's like, yeah, fuck it, right? The main hand I get value from is pocket jacks, pocket tens. And now pocket tens have a reason to fold, and pocket jacks have the nuts. What am I beating? Or what does villain still have? It's like pocket eights, pocket nines maybe, pocket tens, king jack of spades, king 10 of spades, jack 10 of spades. And which potential bluffs does he have? It's like, if I check to him, he needs to turn something into a bluff. Right? Maybe he's floating some ace kings, I don't know. Like, is he calling 8, 9 of spades? What could he bluff? Or does he need to turn something like pocket eights into a bluff? I don't know, will be interesting. So check, I guess when I check, it's like, it screams check fold. And the block bet, well, I have, in theory, still lots of optional bluffs, so he should not overfold. He needs to call a part of his, or like continue. Jack X, 10s, 9s, 8s, if he has that stuff. So I guess I get that through as a value bet. And once he jams here, now the question is, how do I build the blocking range? Right? First guess would be, okay, I put Queen Jack in there, for example. Right? Or I'm not playing pocket jacks. It's really tough, right? So it's a spot where it would be easy to exploit me, probably, if he just jams there and I'm always folding. that he just does that randomly with pocket tens. But that's just probably not happening. And this is where we're now talking about some exploitative strategy. Where is he doing that? Probably not. And again, there we talked about that likelihood of like what potential bluffs gets he there with. Right? It's just he clearly gets there with queen jack of clubs, with queen jack of hearts, with pocket fives, maybe pocket sevens, clearly pocket jacks, ace queen of hearts, ace queen of clubs, not. Maybe some ace queen offsuit. Who knows? So yeah, even though getting not the worst price of all times, it's like I decided to fold. And that were the 4 hands, and I'm interested in what I will be learning in probably 20 minutes. Okay guys, let's call it a day. Was still some fun, even though it was a very tilting session. And see you next time. No one knows when it will be, but we'll find out together. So make sure to check out the NLG offer regarding Natural 8 now. Even for players that are already registered on other GG skins, there's always a possibility, or almost always, check that out to maybe get some private coachings as well from the guys and me. And yeah, until then, have better luck at the tables than I had this session. See you guys.